my
boss.
Just do as you're told.
Yep,
Okay, I got it.
yep.
Yep. If you get a raise,
Get
we
that
raise our
certain age
taxes.
and that's all you do. Just do what you're told.
Never get ahead.
Got home today from Market Basket. Mary's going through the cars. So what do you do? So make sure you get everything you're supposed to get.
Ed,
Am I
Well, it's
90?
still
Am
the
I
car.
90?
Am I?
I moved you over there.
Well, I forgot my thing, so
Don't
I'm...
send me.
Your
Don't
nameplate?
send me.
I actually like it.
You
And
do?
I come home with stuff that,
No, that's Bill's.
Oh.
like I had Nutty Buddy
Well, I,
cones.
I was
really
good.
Am I like
They were great.
I like that. It's a snack. Haven't had those in a while.
My daughter sees me on one of these things, you know, when you talk. She goes, "You're pathetic, Dad."
Yeah, what are you doing?
Cheat off.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
You want a bite?
She would take it if she were there.
Oh, it's terrible. Dragging Mike into the grocery store is just horrific. It's horrific. The shit that guy eats is terrible.
I start doing the comparisons and all kinds of stuff. So I'm eyeballing. Then you get yelled at. That's not the kind we have. It says oats. Right? Market Basket.
We should have said highways for him.
Oats is oats is oats.
Read the label.
Just went through this with chicken broth 2 days ago. I know exactly what you mean.
You heard that?
Yeah.
You got the wrong chicken broth.
Yeah, wrong brand. So if anything, chicken broth, it's all the
I
same.
think it might have.
Oh, it's
On a
not.
Sunday,
You have
That's
to read
what
the
she
label.
was saying.
but on a Sunday, if you had nothing and nothing was open and you came up with it,
Haven't
you'd
even
be
started
hero.
yet.
It'd be fine.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right. Hero.
This driver's share.
So you need a hero covered.
Right. And if you're at
With
home
a little
sick and I'm
padlock
already on
on
the
it.
other side of the store, this brand is going to work good.
Oh, you gotta read the
I've been
label.
in the middle of that before.
Well, then sodium.
Yeah,
no
I
sodium.
guess. But
And genetically
Okay.
modified and not.
Yeah. Really? With chicken broth?
That's a,
I mean, I'm sorry.
yeah. Yeah. Ignorant.
Yeah.
You can be arrogant about it if you want, but
No, I'd rather not.
yeah, it's pretty wet out there. We're putting a lot of little dams up there. We're up on a hill and when I left it was
so yeah, just that one. And he gets forwarded to
got
his
the
truck.
dam bureau on their way up too.
go.
Yeah.
Where he is. You did come in at
They've
noon.
known for quite some time that that thing is not
Kosher.
in the healthiest shape.
I thought it was at 5.
It's a lot of rain. There's
Frank was downstairs too. Frank Miller
a
show.
lot going on out there.
Sent home.
Frank or something.
Busy week for you guys then after this? Stone and sand, right?
It's wicked. Still
Just
trying to,
nonstop.
just trying to keep up with Eversource and now this. I don't know. Yeah, we got one crusher down. And the other one's got a rock stuck in it. I gotta tell you, that stuff just starts to beat itself up. Turn the key and you just wait.
Should have left a message. Hey, Neil, I'm waiting for you to plow up my drive.
I know.
Some select
Got in the
words
snow.
after
That's
that.
what feel it.
Always something.
The state and the towns will be in.
All right, we're just waiting for
Furious
one more
tomorrow.
board member.
What's that?
Waiting for one more board member.
Oh,
You have quorum.
who's
We don't
gonna
care
be the
which
hero?
one.
We don't care
Need
which
to have a
one.
pulse.
Mary Ann's got a pulse, right?
I'm good. How are you?
I've heard that, but I
Amy.
can't see yours, so I can't confirm.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't count Zoom as a quorum anymore, can we?
Oh, no. There is,
I think at least people are
I
fortunate
think it's
that
built to kind of like
having
further
work
that
freeze the next few days.
for municipal meetings. Hey,
Everything
we got
just
one.
froze up now.
Nope, here he is.
We talked about that this morning.
Just to make things that much.
Well, because we crushed this morning as long as we could until it just was not going well. Alright, so when's it gonna get cold? Let's put diesel fuel all over. That helps.
We already kicked this thing off.
No, we're waiting for you.
Oh, all right. Sorry I'm 3 minutes late. Back to back to back meetings. Okay. Today, who do we have first up?
We have recreation, then parks, and the town clerk, and they're all here, so there's no need to.
All right, so we can just plow right through 'em.
Right.
Perfect. Well, let's start with recreation.
We're on page 13.
11. What do I have? I got,
The old one.
oh, for goodness sake, I thought I got the most recent. Well, then,
Here.
you can't see that.
This one.
I think I grabbed my old folder too.
We need
I was
version
like, I
control.
grabbed the folder with a budget in it. It's just the wrong one.
Mine's on 11 too, is that not the right one?
No, you have the right one. I have the wrong one.
Okay.
No.
I'm on
No,
11.
it's on 13.
Right.
Spreadsheet dated 12/5.
The total that you should see at the bottom, 395, 413 for recreation.
That reflects what's seen here.
Okay. So don't worry about page numbers, sorry.
413.
413, yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I might have the wrong one.
395.
Actually,
Make sure it's the
your lines may be more because we added PBTV. We did some adjusting with the lines.
No,
so
I just have an
that's why
old
the
one is my
pages
issue.
aren't.
Well, we had the PBTV thing.
The good news is the number's the same,
That's
so
right.
that's what matters.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're looking at an increase of roughly $14,000.
Yep.
Trying to see what's the general source of that increase.
Lisa?
Raises and we moved some money around a little bit, and then transportation costs.
Transportation costs.
Lisa, I'm gonna have you come up, just because we won't be able to hear you from right here.
Is that why the special trips and fees number is up as much as it is?
Yes. Yep, that's the one. Which we thought about jumping over to a van lease, but with everything going on, we decided to push that back another year, and I did bring some justification sheets that won't pertain to this year, but maybe down the road, I'd love all you guys' feedback in terms of maybe being, saving in that line item. I was just sharing, that, for example, if we were, during the summer program, if we go from Plymouth Elementary to Wellington Beach, it used to be around $70, it's now $525.
Wow.
So it's substantial, and, one would say maybe dial back on the bus trips, but the school is under a lot of renovations in the summertime, especially as it ages, so we really need to get out of the way. So it's kind of a catch-22 of, we can't be in their way during the summers, and we have to get to the beaches and the, different playgrounds and locations, trips that we go on. But pretty much every trip, so Whale's Tail, which is, I think, door-to-door around 15 miles, that's $525. And sometimes we need 2 buses because of the amount that's going. Sometimes we can just squeeze onto one. So that's what we're up against right now.
Have we had any adjustment of our fees in recreation?
Yeah, we
to
brought
adjust for it?
We brought in trip fees. That used to go through Play, so it wouldn't impact the budget. And Ann and I talked about it over the years, and then we finally got it in the budget last year. And so a lot of that is compensated by revenues, and we are going to increase. So that amount of money that we're adding to the budget will be offset by revenues. Not all of it, but we'll shoot for a lot of it to be offset by revenues.
Roughly, what are the revenues for recreation?
124,000 is what we were last year. We were up about 20,000. And I would hope that the way it's going so far, I think we're going to be up again next year. Although, with the school and their cuts, we received 30,000 towards afternoon programs, and that could be discussed next month as, one of the things they cut, I've been told,
The
possibly.
entire 30,000?
They're shooting for maybe none of it, but maybe some of it, but maybe all of it. So they're trying to find that increase and trying to get it brought down. So that could change revenues for us, we'll see.
Lisa, are any of those revenues come from those additional things that you've been adding in, trips? I know there's one coming up. Any of those special things kind of out of the school system adding to much?
That's our revenues, yes.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because it seems like we've done that or added that more on the past year. Just wondering if you knew how much it added on.
Yeah, we've been doing trips for about 30 years, and it comes in waves of
Okay.
what's popular, what's not, how much, facility struggles we have. I mean, we're super lucky that the school boards house us up there, whether it's the Parks Department or us, at no cost. But, we're up against their schedule, what they're trying to do, what we're trying to do. So the trips have been popular in many years.
Okay, I guess I just noticed more in the past year and a half or so.
Yeah, we've done some van trips, and some buses, coach buses, et cetera.
Lisa, with the surrounding towns going, Campton went to full-time.
Yes.
Has that taken away some of our out-of-town audience in terms of fees and things like that?
Yes. So we looked at soccer recently, and soccer was about 90% non-residents, and that grew over the years. I mean, certainly there's a little chunk of change there, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly not a lot to compensate the workload that's associated with it. So for soccer, we met with the other rec departments. We said, could you please offer some of these programs, alleviate what we're dealing with? They jumped up, they stepped up. Campton, for example, one of them, she stepped up and she had record-breaking numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But what was nice about that is that we could service mostly residents, and we've been really looking at that more and more and just saying, residents only, because every time you serve a non-resident, you're not serving a resident. And again, that's time, money,
Right.
resources. So we're trying to really just service residents. Does that make non-residents happy? No. We get emails, calls, there's some comments on Facebook.
Well, they can move to Plymouth. It's not like they don't have any options. We've heard this story for years about, let Plymouth do it. So that was what you would hear too. Well, it's only $10 more to be a non-resident, and my kid didn't get into this, or my kid, you've heard them all.
Right.
And I guess the issue becomes, what's fair between residents and non-residents in terms of fees? You don't want to chase people away and lose revenue, but are residents being knocked out because of non-residents? And that's a balance.
Right.
But hopefully with Holderness and Campton running their programs, you'll really be focused on residents.
Right, yeah, that's the nail on the head, all of that, right there, yeah. So we're trying to stick with residents as much as we can. And we are getting a lot. I mean, for example, basketball, we're servicing over 150 spots. Brian Tracy and Kelsey and I had a vision for what we wanted basketball to become, and that's just exploded.
Great.
But again, we cannot get the gym Monday through Friday. We can only get it on the weekends, and so it's just trying to balance with them. We've used some other gyms to help us with all those games and practices,
Right.
et cetera,
Right.
so.
Is the gym at the old Calvary Christian School available?
Well, I think,
I was hearing rumors that
yeah.
the building is available, it isn't available. I don't know.
right, I know Scott was talking to MPA, Mount Prospect Academy, and I don't know what's transpired from that. I know we can't afford it, so.
I think at this time, that academy is not available for the town of Plymouth at this time. The pastor has pulled back a little bit on the availability of that. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. I know Mount Prospect Academy was interested as well, and that door has kind of been shut for right now.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Any other questions for recreation?
Nope.
So I'll pass these around, and it's just some pros and cons, and again, in a better climate, maybe we can look at a van lease and see if we can save some money down the road. Go from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, Lisa.
Sure. And can I give you one for Scott?
You can.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, just shows some pros and cons for what the bus challenges are, what a lease van, which is something Scott came up with. Kelsey and I hadn't heard of a one-year lease van option with wear and tear and that kind of thing covered as far as any expenses. And then the difference and what we would do with it and how we would get flexible with our schedule, maybe do a couple of runs to the beach, so to speak, you know. If you do say, I don't know, 6 trips to the beach, which is minimal, that's 3,000 right there. So what could we do all year with 12? So something to just think about.
Mm-hmm.
Have to work on Transport Central.
Right.
Let's do it.
So Parks is the next
Lisa.
department that's
Thank
right
you.
underneath.
Yep, let's go right to it.
Just want to make sure 256,885, is that what you're looking at?
It is, yep, thank you. Up about $8,000 here.
Most of that being wages,
Yep,
or 3/4 of that being wages.
yeah, the vast majority,
Yeah.
looks like maybe
It's
all
almost
of it.
all salary.
Yeah, it's all salary, yep.
Yeah, is there anything here other than salary for increases?
Which could change too, because having to hire a new employee, that rate's probably gonna go down from what Jeff was making at the time.
We have an employee who recently left,
Oh, okay.
so we'll be hiring a new person.
This is, as far as I can tell, it's all just staff.
Yeah, there's not much. We don't have
Not really much we can say.
Not a lot of questions to ask on this one.
Maybe at some point there might be something now that we're inheriting the pond, the new drainage pond to mow. So that just added a large area of mowing for us to go along with what we do in the town anyways, so. There might be something coming up there at some point, but not now.
What percentage of this is offset by the 2 schools?
72,
73% is,
2.
oh,
72.
72%, I'm sorry,
72,
split
28.
between the 2 schools.
And so is that like 50-50 between the 2 schools, or is
No.
the,
The 2
No, it's 65-35, high school to elementary.
gotcha. So, and then that 65 to the high school, a portion of that is going to other towns.
Right.
Makes sense.
I got nothing.
Thank you for bringing
you.
in such
Yeah.
a
I just want to say,
complicated
before I go,
problem.
I just want to thank Ann and Scott for helping through, losing this employee it's difficult. So they've been awesome. So congratulations to her. Thank you to them for helping us.
Yeah.
It's definitely been huge to have them on our side for this.
It's good to have good support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks.
That was easy.
That was the easiest one.
Going back to page,
One.
well, 1 or 2, depending on how you have it.
One for
What's the number on it?
1 and 2.
Yeah, it
It's
starts with
Election
voter.
registration vitals,
No, I know. What's the total?
171,578.
Okay. good. Still accurate.
Aaron's last meeting, guys.
Final meeting.
We
Done.
need to give her some.
When's your last day?
Next Wednesday, the 27th.
There's still plenty of time to squeeze another meeting in.
Here, come
on.
Need me.
Done it next week.
Yeah.
Push her right in. We appreciate
All right. So here we're looking at an increase of about $30,000.
That's it.
What's that?
No.
What's the
How many elections do you have this year, Aaron?
4,
four? So the
Yes.
4 elections is a big driver.
big chunk of that. And also, not with the supervisors, but potentially a new election machine, as ours is being done away with. They are recommending, the state is recommending to put in our budget to be prepared the next year.
This is
for
the ballot counting machine.
the ballot counting device, and we have allocated, let's see, $9,000 at the state's recommendation.
And why isn't the Secretary of State paying for those?
Good question.
Thank you.
Great question.
This is the election expense.
Yes.
That 9,120.
Yes.
So almost a third of it is that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then so it's that plus raises plus going from this year you would have had 1 election, so you go from 1 to 3.
1 to 4.
Well, I mean 1 to 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, which is a lot.
Yes.
Now, when we went through the budget with Aaron and Amy, it was clear that adding the elections and the machine was the bulk of the increase with the town clerk's office.
Is there gonna be any controversy over that machine when we get it? It seems like counting machines
No more
are
than
always.
usual, probably. That
We've
machine's
had the one that
old.
we've had for so long that
Yeah.
it's not a controversy because everybody comes in and they're like, "Well, what about?" And we're like, "It's the thing you've been using for a decade. Like you're fine." But
It's on a Dominion.
Yeah.
There was a,
Name that
right,
gets people riled up.
gets people riled up. Yeah, exactly.
Aaron and Amy may be able to speak to this better than I, but I did follow it. There was a dog and pony show for a number of firms that made vote counting machines that the Secretary of State ran. And then I think he's recommending 2?
2.
2. And
Okay.
then Town of Plymouth will buy one of those too.
And they very similar to the one we have now that takes the bubble
So
sheet.
who's going to really perceive
One
a
of them
difference?
is very similar to what we currently have with upgrades, and the other one is very different than what we currently have. Still super efficient, just more modern, really.
What are the upgrades? What sort of things do we get as an upgrade?
I
Bigger
should have Amy come sit.
Yeah, you
And
wanna come sit, Amy?
Amy?
Has been doing all the
Yeah,
research on
Amy
this.
was the one that got to see.
All right, good. Yeah, please come.
You can stay
Hi.
there. Aaron.
Yeah,
Having-
yeah.
Having spent a lot of time, gently manipulating that machine and making sure it works and the ballots go in. and
So the
curious.
upgrades are, bigger screens, color screens versus gray. It tells you if you've overvoted, and if the state changes the rules to accept overvotes, then you choose whether you want it to go into the machine or not. So, just general things, but one is very similar to what we have because it's the same company with just some upgrades, and then one is a totally new company.
And the totally new company would come with like entirely different ballots and everything too.
No, the ballots are
It'd still be the
similar.
same?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So we're
just
still
a
talking
different
about
company.
filling in bubbles.
Filling
We're
in
not-
bubbles.
Not punching holes or.
No chads.
Hanging chads, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting to go to that event. I went to the Secretary of State's office and got to see all the different ones, and it was neat for me because they're like, you know, you have any questions? Like, yeah, I've never run an election before. Let me do it. Let me try to turn it on. You know what I mean? Because, so this is pretty interesting. But, you know, printing on 8.5 by 11 paper versus a ticker tape.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, that, so stuff like that. Just upgrades, modern upgrades, really.
Is there a moderator there at the training?
There's all sorts of people at the
Okay,
training.
all right.
Yeah, there was multiple. You had to sign up for it, and there was different groups that went around to different ones. It's pretty interesting. But yeah,
And when the time comes, the clerk will present what they think is the best device to the select board for their approval.
Okay. And do we think that's something that will happen
so we
next year?
don't. The state hasn't said you need to switch by X. But Erin and I figured that if we put it in the budget and then the state said you need to have it, the money would be there for us to be able to purchase it because it is going to be a required upgrade from the state. We just don't have, you know, the state hasn't said you need to have this machine out by 2026, for example. They haven't given us a date, but we wanted to make sure that we had it in the budget in case they said you need to have it. I'd rather have the money there than not.
Agreed. Knowing that, does it make more sense to put it into a capital improvement fund line so that if it doesn't happen in the next fiscal year, that money's just carries to the next and it's there?
We can do a encumbrance if we need to.
We can, yeah, and we could do that multiple times?
We can, yep.
Okay.
So, for revenues for the clerk's office, last year, they brought in $969,000 plus dogs and marriage licenses, so close to $1 million ran through that office last year.
You're welcome.
And their budget is $171,578.
Aaron looks a little proud.
Yeah,
So how much of that million did we get to keep?
Yeah.
The office works
you
very
just
hard,
look up
and it's nice to hear that what's
personnel right
going
here. Yeah.
in comes out tenfold.
Right.
It's very happy to hear that.
Still think Secretary of State ought to buy the machines.
Yes.
It's like an unfunded mandate if they go to the machine. That's why they're not saying,
Legislature and get that paid for, Bill.
it's my old boss.
Okay.
It'd
Sure,
be
he'll
interesting,
do it for me.
be interesting wording when they come out.
That's
Yeah,
right.
no, I know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For the fact that you don't have to buy them, it's not a mandate. You know.
You could count by hand.
You could count by hand, that would be
Yeah,
the
been there,
option,
done that, I guess, but.
Double the staff.
at least.
And there was
Any-
no capital.
No capital. Any other questions for election registration vital statistics?
Great, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right,
Thank you.
let's go.
And thanks for your support and, you know, making me intro.
We do what we
See how it
can.
goes.
That's exactly
It
right.
was motivated self-interest.
I'm sure she's flattered with that one.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, what a guy with words.
So you've seen all the departments now.
Talk to everybody.
That was everybody. So we do have a meeting scheduled for January 8th, I believe, is our next one. And that's just for the board to finalize their budget, unless you want to do some of this now.
I don't, well,
I'm
we'll
sure,
definitely wait because we want Neil.
right?
But I don't think we have any outstanding questions, adjustments, research.
Not that you've given us, if you think of some before that meeting, if you can just let us know. Once that meeting is over, we'll write something up to the capital improvement committee
Because we did make some adjustments.
that we made some adjustments. They will hold another meeting. I'm sure, 3 or 4 of us that are here, or 5 of us are actually on that committee anyways.
There's a lot of overlap, yeah.
So we can be good from there, and we'll be ready for a public hearing after that.
Public hearing is January, late January?
No.
I had the dates in front of me. I don't need
Let me
to.
give you that.
First public hearing, January 22nd.
Yes, 5:15 PM. Yep.
And then second hearing, if needed, on February 8th.
That's if you have any petition warrant articles that come in. We haven't heard of any yet.
Yeah, or it also could, if we do the first hearing and something comes up and we feel like we need to make an adjustment.
The only thing I would suggest is making sure we urge Neil to attend on January 8th, because that, again, is an afternoon meeting, and his presence is needed at that meeting as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have a quorum. If we had to vote as a board to push it through, the three of us certainly can, but it's nicer when we have all five.
I agree.
So I don't have anything else today. I don't know if, Scott, you have anything else?
The only thing I'll give you an update is on the roads in Plymouth today, is that I've been working with the highway department, with the police department, with the fire department. We do have some road closures right now, Bartlett Road, Yetton Road, a portion of Loon Lake Road, not where it typically floods, but where there's a wetlands just beyond the paved section. But we will continue to monitor. The river is to crest around midnight at 20 feet, is what we're being told. That doesn't have any significant impact on Plymouth, with the exception of Route 3 South down by Crystal Springs or by Prep Construction. So the detention pond is working as it should. It is full. It is using its outflow. And so everything right now, we've been out, I haven't been out and about yet, but Kevin and Tom and Alex and Nate and Joe have been very busy out and about checking the roads. One other area is on Thurlow Street in the area of Ivy Lane. You know, we have that large privately owned culvert up there, which the property owner has refused on many occasions to do anything about that culvert. We do have a little bit of washout up there, but I will say Joe and his team are up there looking at that. They are trucking a lot of stone to a lot of the dirt roads that have become just mush and unpassable due to the frost coming out of the ground so early based on these few warm days. But if there's any other updates, I will make sure the board is aware of those.
Hey, Scott, did you hear anything about the dam in Campton that broke?
Yep, the dam did not.
That was
The dam
overreported.
did not fail.
Okay.
The dam did not fail. They are monitoring it. The State Bureau of Dams is there, as well as local authorities. It hasn't breached, nor do they think it's going to breach, but they are monitoring it very carefully, as about 2.5 feet of water is coming over the top of the dam at this time.
With voluntary evacuation.
Correct, on the south side of the dam.
Like the BB River area.
Okay, which dam?
Yes, correct. Six Flags, BB River
Center of town.
area.
Okay, yep,
That one, the one you're talking about?
yeah. Okey-doke. Thank you.
Anything else from anyone while we're here?
Thank you for taking the time.
All right, we're good then. Adjourned.
Thank you, and I will be back in the office tomorrow.
Thanks, Scott.
All right.
Merry Christmas, guys.